Hi everyone, welcome to the In Nollywood Filmmakers Podcast. And today I have a really special guest with me. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi guys, so my name is James Omokwe. I'm a producer, sometimes an executive producer, a director, sometimes I edit, sometimes I do a lot of things film related, but yeah, that's me.
Do you do other things not film related?
I don't know. I like watching TV, I like eating, and this is not a Panarottis advertising something, but yeah, I mean, I play video games, I do a lot of other stuff. Everything in my life is really good, like it's focused on filmmaking, and I don't do anything else for
You're
a
also
living.
the CEO
Of Feemo now, yes. And of, I've actually never said this publicly, but so there's Feemo, and then there's a company called Picture Lock, and Picture Lock is a post-production facility.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, that's the first time I said that out loud publicly.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I like being the recipient of first. So when did you first realize that you wanted to be a filmmaker?
So that might have been before I got into University of Lagos. I think that I was very much interested in animation and everything cartoons. In 2010, I tried to do like an animated project with a friend of mine. Didn't quite work out. I think I had the idea of what it might be like, but yeah, it just didn't work out. And then I realized that, I did have an interest in making films, so I wanted to go and study abroad. Story for another day. My dad lives abroad. That didn't happen. So I opted to do creative arts in University of Lagos. This is after I had done 1 year in University of Lagos doing urban and regional planning. Don't ask me how I got there. Story for another day. But I left, dropped out because I knew that wasn't for me. And then I wrote Jam Begin and got into creative arts, which was kind of... I felt like, it's not film, but it's something close to theater anyway. So, and so I did that. And then in my year 3, I wrote a short film called Grass. I think it's still on Facebook somewhere. And then, I shot it in school for about 2 days or so. And I realized, or 1 day, and I realized, hey, this is something I kind of want to do. And that was it.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm trying to do the maths in my head. 10 years ago, 2010.
Let me help
That's
you. No, not 20. No. The animation.
The animation
no,
thing was
the animation
2010.
thing was 2001, not 2010.
Oh,
99,
okay.
2001. No,
That's
I'm old. So first of all, I'm 40. Yeah. But the thing in school happened in 2000 and so my first urban and regional thing was 2003. Dropped out. Got into school in 2005 for creative arts. Graduated in 2009. Went to serve 2010. Started my first company 2010. Started my second company in 2017.
wow.
Which
So
is Feemo.
in all, you have close to 2 decades of
Well, officially, it's 14 years.
14 years.
Officially.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like officially when I started my first company, but it's almost
That's
2
a long
decades.
time.
Yeah, almost 2 decades of playing around with film stuff.
So how do you think you've should I say evolved over the years in the projects you make, the stories you tell?
I think there's been some great considerable growth when I look at all the projects that we've done from my first film in 2013, which am I allowed to swear on this podcast? Am I allowed to swear? No. Okay.
Probably not.
Which was terrible because I was gonna say the S word like my son would say, but anyway, it was my first film. I won't say it was terrible. I didn't necessarily like it as much. And then so I did some projects for Ebony Life TV. There were two TV projects. One was called Tromper. I forget what that means now. It's to deceive. That's what it means.
That's a French word.
It was a French word. And then the second film was Dear Avalon. And then I started doing a lot of TV production. So I did Highlights with Ike. It was a show that Ike Osakiodo was doing. I was his supervising producer. And then I made my first TV show, which that TV show, head over heels. Let's not even talk about that TV show, but we'll be all right. Then I did Ajoche, then Unbroken. I supervised Unbroken. It wasn't my company that did it, but I supervised that. Then we did Riona, Itura, Diiche. So there's been great. I mean, if you look at that trajectory, there's been very, very great growth in those
Wow.
projects, and I'm grateful for it.
Yeah. I can see from your, I don't know if I'm allowed to say the word portfolio of work. There are a number of like notable epic stories, projects, shows there. What do you have a thing for epics, or what is it about them that makes you want to make them again?
So I'm not going to give you a very intelligent response, because sometimes when you tell people this story, they're like, oh, I just want to be homegrown. Now lie. Um, so when I started my second company, Feemo, I think one of our actually, yes, it's an intelligent thing I'm about to say. Anyway, so when we were looking, so when we started my second company, I think the thing was, how do we carve a niche for ourselves and how do we make ourselves different? Fun fact, we wanted a lot of things that we did after then to be very indigenous, because I felt like that was what would set us apart from a couple of the things that we see in the mainstream, filmmaking scene. And one of the things that did inspire me was, again, Kunle Afolayan's The Figurine, because again, it was an African story and whatnot. And so again, fun fact, my company's name Feemo is actually Feemo. That's like see Feemo, right?
Oh.
And that's the pidgin way of seeing a film. And so there was part of the reasons. So that was like the thing, we're trying to make ourselves very indigenous and whatnot. And so again, one of the things we thought about was telling authentically African stories, and really just focusing on doing stories that are authentic to us. And so we had done like a proof of concept called Ojuri. It's actually on my Instagram. It's a Yoruba epic.
Oh yeah, is it based on a book?
No, actually no.
Because there's a book titled
called Ojuri. Are you serious? Oh yeah, cool. No.
It's Yoruba literature.
So it was called Ojuri. It's also an epic story, which I'm still going to want to do, but it was a 13 episode short form content, and we had made that as a test to see, this is an epic thing. Okay, maybe this is the direction which we want to go, yada, yada, yada. And one day I got called to do a story workshop, and then we're trying to think about, things to do. And then, it was an African Magic story workshop. And then the head of African Magic, Wangi, at that time, wanted to tell a different kind of story outside of the glam, story, and then they had come up with, let's try to do something traditional, and then, one idea here, and then we came up with Ajoche, which was an epic TV show. And in my mind, I'm like, yo, we've done something like this before, look, and yeah, that's how we got the job, and then that's how we, did Ajoche. So yes, I do have a thing for telling those stories, because again, they're authentically us. I'm not trying to compete with Hollywood. I just want to do our own stuff, show our own culture. And again, because we're like griots. Like a griot is somebody who passes stories from generation to generation. I feel like, we didn't learn much about our past in school. We don't really learn anything about history. And so this is an opportunity to use fiction and to use this style of filmmaking to show people. I can't tell you, I can't read it to you, but I can show you. And so that's why we do authentically African stories.
Yeah.
That's when I say it makes sense, Abby.
It does. It really does.
Yeah.
It really does. And I think there's a thing about learning through visual means that stays with you over every other.
Yes. That's actually how I learn. Because again, I have ADHD. I hate reading. So I get through scripts, yes, but when I have to, but on a good day, you can't catch me reading it. I rather audio book the thing. But my primary learning source is visual stuff. Either I'm on YouTube or on something. That's
yeah. You mentioned about telling authentic African stories, right? And when you say that, what are the things that have to be in place?
It's not necessarily an in-place thing. It's like visual language and nuances. And let me not use the word visual language, and let me not try to sound. Let's stick with nuances, right?
Okay.
So first of all, the setting. Is it happening? Is it your hometown? Is it somebody else's hometown? Is it a Nigerian story? Or is it an African story? Is it in Mozambique? Is it in South Africa? Is it where? It doesn't necessarily mean whether it was in the 80s or it was in the 1900s. Is it an African story? Number one. Is the language an African language? Doesn't necessarily mean it has to be Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa. Is it pidgin? And that's where nuance comes in. So even with your characters, like for instance, there's the way we talk as Africans, which is why sometimes I find it very difficult when we're doing modern stories. The acting doesn't come out as natural to me because you're trying to speak like an American. So what's happening and what's going on, that's not necessarily how we speak. How we speak is, you put it in on the fire. What's happening now? Jesus Christ. Do you get that?
Yeah.
Is, in fact, I was reading something one time. It's like how you say There are many ways you can say they all mean different things.
Yeah.
Do you understand? It's part of our language. It's nuanced. It's a nuanced form of communication.
Yeah.
And that's also authentic to us. And then what kind of story are you telling? If you tell a Matrix type story, oh, one guy ate blue pill, next thing he's flying. And I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but is it like an African story? Like issues, the African things that are let me know is what plaguing us, but the African things that are unique to us. What kind of story are you telling? And so that's all those and more is what you package and say is an authentic African story.
Oh wow, I like that response.
Yeah.
So how should I say how far or where are the locations your work has taken you to so far?
The funny thing is I've traveled out for work once. It was Mauritius, and it was obviously for something I was doing for Highlights with IK. But most times I shoot a lot of the stuff that we do at a back lot in Lakowe, just behind where I currently live. Again,
that sounds convenient.
Very convenient. I drive, it's like 3 minutes to sets from my estate. But that's where we house all the actors and all that stuff. But I think that why I chose Lakowe was because they have the space and they've graciously been very supportive to some extent in helping us achieve the things we want to achieve. I went there. Funny thing is, I went there to go and do a retreat at some point, and I loved it extremely. It's very peaceful. It's very quiet. You don't hear traffic. The birds is really, really, And then I asked if they had, empty land somewhere. And Blackwater is huge. Like, there's big. It's like Lekki 5 times. That's the untapped land. And so we decided to build some of our huts and villages in some of those places. The first place we built it was Amen Estate. It was a bit far, but, this is convenient for me. So, so far, I'm here, like, doing my stuff here. And, I was telling you about a film I'm about to shoot in Edo State. I went to this place called Fuga and Ososo. Places I've never heard of before. Like, going there is like, just standing on the mountaintops is like you're in Cape Town. It's very beautiful. Like, you don't even, sometimes you're asking yourself, does this place exist in Nigeria? So yeah, it's so that the places I've been.
How typically challenging like the process way?
It's challenging a lot, because building a village on 6 acres of land from scratch is not beans, right? Fortunately, I have a team who we've done this so many times, so they're used to it. So currently, my team is shooting we're building in Edo State, and they're doing the work. It's a bit difficult, but they're doing it because they're experienced. And I think that it's not necessarily a challenge anymore.
Yeah.
The terrain will be difficult as time goes by, but then we've learned over time how to do it. In fact, I'll tell you a funny story. So when we're doing Ajoche, the first time we did it and we said we were going to build huts and co, we didn't necessarily understand the technique to build. Because it's funny when you say, I want to build a hut, you want to build it, but there's a technique to it. Not necessarily a technique that exists. It does, but it's not like that's how people build huts now. So usually what people do is, and I may be wrong, so they build their huts, they layer it, build, and they let it dry, right? In some places. And I think that's what we did in the first instance. We built, put it around, whatever, then we got it to dry. Unfortunately, that night rain fell. And so when I woke up in the morning,
everything was
Jonathan and all of us were like, oh my. So we found a new way of building a skeleton inside.
Oh, okay.
Then building the mud around it and joining cement with the mud.
So it will stay.
Do you get? So that's a technique we learned. So from one challenge we learned, And that's typically how it's been, but it's usually very easy. 2 months of building or 10 weeks and we're good to go.
It's so interesting. Now, I want to know, what are the things you know now, logistically? Because it sounds like a logistics issue, obviously. And what are the things that you know now that you wish you had known when you were starting out?
So, it's So there's a guy who I used to know. His name is Mr. Femi. A guy I used to know, Mr. Femi. Mr. Femi used to tell me, if it doesn't work on paper, it won't work in real life. So I've used that. If it doesn't work on paper, it won't work on real life to help me achieve some of the things that I need to achieve. My first show that I did was called Head Over Heels. Head Over Heels was a 40-episode TV show that I didn't allow it to work on paper. I trusted people, and I was like, oh yeah, these people, they know what they are doing, And then one day I'm walking into the studio with a friend of mine, and I almost want the ground to swallow me, because again, we didn't work on paper. We just assumed it was going to work. And so for all the shows we've done, we go through a rigorous process of concept ideation before you start putting you start putting nail to hammer. Because I want to see what the costumes look like. Oh, I don't like this. I want it to be a different way. I want to see what the building looks like. I don't like the way it's facing. Oh, let's face it like this. Or let's make the rooms 3 instead of 2. And I want to see every pillar. I need to see it, right? And so we go through this rigorous process of sketching everything until I'm satisfied. Then you can go and build. So what happens is, I've seen it already. So when I'm coming on sets, it's as we've imagined it, and I wish I knew that earlier. So now I've applied it in everything that we're doing, even if it's not building something, even if it's a logistics plan. Oh, we're traveling with 20 people. What does it look like on paper? These people, and it's easy for people to say, no, now we'll go to the bus stop and take a bus. No, which time are we leaving? When do we get to the park? What time is the park leaving? How many buses are they taking? Is the fuel, is there fuel? Are we going to do a fuel stop? Are we going to do a food stop? When we stop at so, what's the estimated time of arrival at so and so place?
I want to ask, because you said something about, you didn't trust, not like you didn't trust, but like you didn't follow if it works on paper. So you didn't try to check if it work on paper. What happened? What went wrong? And, in answering that question, what are the gaps that you feel like would happen if, you don't try to work things out on paper in first place?
So it's a project management issue, and it's again, doing things like this as a producer, you're a project management personnel.
Yeah.
So what it is that you've tasked or you've given people tasks to do, and you're supposed to supervise those tasks to your taste, right? And so if you've told people who are your production designer, for instance, and you've said, so I'm trying to build 2 villages, and these 2 villages will have 7 houses each, and these 7 houses will have X each. Do you understand? Blah, blah, blah. So the production designer works with the art director, and the builder is in charge of that. There's a props guy that's in charge of this. There's another guy that's in charge of that, right? So you know who's in charge, and you know when those deliverables will be. Then you are telling them, and then you've done designs, remember. You said, okay, yes, I know I want these 2 villages, but these designs need to be different. So the concept artist is doing this. Yeah. So the concept artist has to do this for me to approve before you do. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And then when you've done all that stuff, there's something called a timeline that I normally do. So these are all the tasks we need to do. How do we need to do them? So for me to get this structure standing here, concept artist has to deliver. How long is he going to deliver? Oh, give him like a month for us to all agree on these things. Once a month has passed, then the next 2 weeks is budget. Now you're sending me budgets for what you want to build. I have to go back and agree, disagree. Once we finalize on those budgets, then there's purchase. After purchase, then every unit that I've called initially will now go and build all the things. So props, you have this amount of time. You have this amount of time. We need to do this in 10 weeks. The problem with some people is, first of all, there's no direction in how long we are doing what for. Some people don't understand that before you build, you withdraw. So you will just sit with your guy and say, oh, I want 10 huts. You don't necessarily discuss how you want the hut to be. Then they build the hut. Then when the hut is standing, you now come, I don't like this color. But they've built it already.
Yeah.
So you're wasting more time. Oh, I wish the door was this way. Then you're now going to bring one picture. This is what I thought it would look like, but you didn't explain it to the guy. You don't expect his telepathic to understand what you want. And so there's a mishmash of rubbish that you have to now deal with. And there's really nothing you can do about it. That's exactly what happened to me the last time, because I had this person to say, oh, so we're going to build this house for this person. We're going to build this as a minimal, this, da, 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 da. And I said, okay. I went and came back and I saw something entirely different. Obviously, who is to blame? It's me now, because I didn't sit with you saying, I want to see what this house looks like. I want to see what this building looks like. No, I don't like this building. So as narrating I give me, narrating I see, I don't feel complain again now.
Yeah.
So that was my issue. That's what happened. And so now I'm more project managing the situation to make sure that everything that is in my head is carefully articulated to the person in charge. We both agree on timelines, then we execute.
Wow, that sounds very technical. And now I'm just curious to know how, because, filmmaking is also a creative affair. Like, fundamentally, it's also technical. So how do you balance the creative vision you have for a film with the logistical realities of that film?
So it's not necessarily a balance. It's one thing needs the other. So to run your creative ideas, you need an administrative line to arrange it. Again, I want to build a house. I have a dream that the house is going to be yellow, it's going to be this, it's going to be that. And that's the creative side. Now, building the house needs an administrative line to make sure that it comes to a reality, or else we'll all be jumping around. Do you understand what I mean? So it's not a balance. It's like a plug. So for me to achieve this, I need to do this. Simple. For an actor to get on set, I need to provide a bus to bring the actor. That thing you're watching, that the guy shouting, oh, it's a bus brought him. So for him to perform that thing, somebody has arranged for transport to bring him there. So they go hand in hand. Do you understand what I mean? It's not a balance. It's for one to thrive, the other one must be done.
Okay, I get that. Fair enough.
Yeah.
You work with very big sets, like your
100 people, 100 plus people.
Yeah. What's that like, and what's the most?
Actually, 100 plus crew, 700 plus actors.
That's
like that.
That's massive. That is so massive.
Yeah.
What's that like? And across different projects, and what has been the most, should I use the word, interesting incident that has happened on set to you ever before?
So the trick is that I don't deal with all except my crew. And I mean, I probably will interact with some of all the actors at given times. But I try not to make certain things my business. So my core role is being an executive producer and allowing other people do their work. So laying the work plan for you and making sure that you do it. I don't have the emotional capacity to deal with everything that happens day to day on set. There are things that happen on set I don't know. Do you understand? Because I have a capable team of, we've taught you how to deal with these things, unless it's a problem that, and so the way it is with the coordinators, if there's a problem and you can't solve it, you talk to your PC, or PM rather. Yeah. If there's a problem that the PC cannot handle, you talk to the line producer. If there's a problem the line producer cannot handle, you talk to the creative producer. If there's a problem that you can't handle, to talk to the series or line producer. If you can't solve that problem, then come and meet me. And say, so before the problem comes, you have solved the problem. Unless it's a problem that you solved and I probably heard and I didn't like the way it was solved, then I'll call you outside and say, no, you shouldn't have solved that. Do you say, but pretty much the most interesting thing that has happened, which again showed the unity of the team and all that, was we're shooting Riona. We're about to go on air, and the way these things work is once you go on air, it's like a moving train that can't stop. So you have to be so you can't drop episode. You can't say you can't say, oh, I'm not filming again, because you go to black. You have to feed the monster of TV.
Yeah, it
So
reminds me of a book I read. I think it was Shonda Rhimes I was talking about. I think she described it as a moving train, just like
Thank you.
Like it doesn't stop.
because every day.
Yeah.
So even America I mean, I don't know how this is, but every week there's a show. I mean, you have an episode, and you've probably filmed it. But my point is that as that episode has showed 45 minutes, you have one less episode. So with us, with 260 episodes, right? Episode 1, everybody's like, oh my gosh, it's on there. Episode 1 has finished, credits are rolling. That's one less episode you have to be on TV, and you're still shooting. So it's a race. You have to catch up, right? And so one day I'm driving back, and then I get a phone call from one of my producers, and she's frantically crying. And I'm like, what's going on? There's an entire set, the King's Chamber. It has his palace and 6 rooms burnt. Yeah, at the time she was calling me, it was burning. So I was in the car, I caught the call, played some music, and I was in traffic.
Wow.
In my mind, I was like, this is a joke, like, just no problem, But I mean, I knew it was true, but so I drove to Lakwe.
You're in denial.
Looking for the smoke. I don't see the smoke. I can't drive. So when I now got there, I saw the smoke. People were crying. Everyone was scattered. And as soon as they saw me, everybody stopped. I think maybe they all thought that once I come down, I'll collapse or something. Okay. Or I don't know. Do you get? Me, I was laughing though. I came down, I was laughing. Why are people looking like this? What's the problem? Do you get? Why are people looking like this? What's going on? People were crying. I now started feeling bad for the people that were crying. God. So I got to the set. I still have pictures. I walked into the place. It was burnt. And they were filming. So luckily, nobody died. There was a girl who had like an asthma attack or something. But and the fire happened when they were inside the something. So I came back outside. I was looking at everybody. It's like everybody was looking at me and like, so what do we do now? Do you get like, we're finished, I said, everybody go back to the hostel, So I got the buses. They came, picked everybody up. Grown men were crying, man. Like, anyway, so everybody went to the hostel. I went back to my house. You know what I did? I turned on my PlayStation. I was playing game. I just told them, I said, we'll have a meeting by 8 o'clock. Played game. Once it was to 8, I drove back. I saw everybody. Everybody came outside. Everybody was looking sad. And I said, I'm very grateful that nobody died. I'm very grateful for your service. I'm very grateful that, that you even feel this way. It makes me feel that we're doing something, And I appreciate it. I said, but you know what? The work goes on. I said, so here's what we're going to do. I said, first of all, scheduler, find out how many scenes we cannot shoot in this place. Let's find scenes in front. So I had to do schedule. We go back to work tomorrow. I said, set, find out how long it will take us to build this thing back. What will it take? What has been destroyed? Let's talk to insurance. Like that. We built that place up in 3 weeks. And we didn't stop shooting.
So how does your post-production, because we've been talking about filming, like how does it typically run out? How do you ensure that it goes smoothly?
So, like I said initially, I mean, this first place I'm saying this publicly, I run a post-production company. It's called Picture Lock. It's for now, we are only focused on doing our own stuff. We're not doing work for anybody outside. So what we do basically is picture editing, color correction, finishing, final mix, and there's also VFX.
Final question, so to speak, is
I'm actually enjoying this conversation.
Yeah. What is one thing you would say that can improve the logistics situation in filmmaking in Nigeria?
Paperwork. Like, if it doesn't work,
on paper,
that's the thing. Because again, it's planning.
Yeah.
And when you realize, like, a lot of how things, the S word hits the fan. Jesus, I can't believe I can't say bad things.
I know, it's so restrictive.
Right? Anyway, the things go bad when you don't plan. Now, there's a famous thing called Murphy's Law in filmmaking. Whatever it is that will go wrong,
I thought you were going to say in physics.
No.
Sounds like something that would be in physics.
There's something we call Murphy's Law. Murphy's Law means everything that will go bad will go bad. Like, you've planned for the day, something we shall
You don't have control over everything.
But you see, when you plan, you reduce, you mitigate the risks of things going bad, right? And in the sense of those examples I gave, even just in logistics, and you're moving people from one place to the other, or you're planning for a day's shoot, you're planning for the schedule, you've talked about it, even when you're planning for the story, this scene, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to do, it helps you. Oh, this costume, I want this costume, this is the look we're looking for, this is for this character, day one, when blue suit, blue this, then the tailor has gone and made it to the last, everybody has packaged it. Oh, you know what, just in case if anything happens, you have 2 sets of these suits. Do you understand? You have prepared yourself so that on the day you come, actor arrives, hand him over suit, put him into makeup, camera is rolling, then we go. It's different than, oh, the actor has come. Oh yeah, what do we have for him today? No, this color is not working. No, no. Then you went into a location that's the first time you're in that location. Then you now find out that there's one chair that is polka dot with red dots and purple this thing. No, the shoe you're not. Don't you have another shoe? We have to go to market to go and buy. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Time is going. Actor is getting frustrated. You are not doing anything. It doesn't make any sense. Do you understand? So planning is key. Like it's in the planning. If you don't plan, you're just not gonna make a good film. It's kind of like if there's something wrong with your car and you kick and it starts once, that's fluke.
Yeah.
If you don't check what the problem is, what's this? Who's guaranteed that if you start the car again tomorrow it will work?
Yeah.
It's when you know, oh, this is the issue. This is why it's not starting. Okay, let me fix this thing so that tomorrow when I start the car, planning gives you confidence that yes, this thing is going to pan out this way. There's a 90% chance that it will pan out this way. And if it doesn't pan out this way, guess what? I have a plan B. I planned the plan B. So if the generator spoils, guess what? I have a second generator, so I can get somebody to fix the generator. If the second generator spoils, guess what? I have a small generator, so we can fix this too, make sure it works, and then go back. But you're saying, oh, I have one generator, don't worry, to next spoil, then to next spoil. Okay, then what?
Start looking
You use your tongue to power the.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much.
I really, really loved our conversation. Thank you so much.
Appreciate.
Trading. Okay, so that was a conversation with James Omokwe, CEO of Feemo Vision Limited. And this is the In Nollywood Filmmakers Maths podcast. And remember, if it doesn't work on paper, it can't work in real life. See you next time.